Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we are going to talk about a whole different topic. It's not going to be about the CFA anymore. Now I'm going to talk about the CAIA program, and in terms of my experience, as you can see here, I had to move out again, and I had to switch my location once more. It's been quite a long time moving around every now and then, but yeah, I had to move for professional purposes or professional motives, and so yeah, that's the way it is. Just one quick disclaimer. I have already reached out to YouTube to try to figure out what is going on with the fact that my videos cannot be commented on. I'm still waiting on the feedback, but of course, as soon as I get an answer, I will for sure activate that option so that you can give me your comments and any suggestions that you might have how to improve the quality of the videos. So moving on to the topic of today's video. Where should I begin? So after the ESG certificate exam on August the 31st, I decided to take a few weeks off because it has been a long ride since I began preparing for the CFA Level III, and then basically jumped in for the ESG certificate preparation, so to speak. And I finally got a few weeks to rest, and also because I needed to settle into my new job at the time. But I was already aware that the registration period for the level 2 of the CAIA, the Chartered Alternative Investment Analyst program, was going to open on October the 3rd, and so my mind was already thinking that I was going to register for the program in that exact day, so that I can have as much time as possible to prepare myself for the exam. By the way, my decision to get into the program and also get this designation was twofold. On one hand, because over the last couple of years, alternative investments have been getting a lot of attention. They have been adopted basically worldwide in the financial industry, and so I think it was useful also for me to have some sort of a deeper knowledge into some of the topics that involve there also constitute the alternative investments, because you can see that many of the different investment options that are available, such as cryptos, private equity, and these sort of hedge funds as well. These kind of alternatives are, and also real estate, for example, due to the recent run-up in prices, have been getting quite a lot of attention, and so I think it was also important to expand my knowledge a little bit more in this particular context, and also because as a CFA charter holder, you get access to the stackable credential pilot program of the CAIA association, in which you are allowed to skip the level 1, and so you can just basically get the designation just by sitting for the level 2 exam. And so basically that's what I decided to do. On October 3rd I did the registration, and then basically I began studying immediately so that I could get myself as much time as possible for ahead of the exam, which I scheduled for March 31st earlier this year, 2023. And I recall that as I went through the curriculum, or during my preparation, it took a bit of an adjustment relative to the kind of materials that I was used to from the CFA Institute, basically because most of the curriculum in the CAIA designation, is in a Wiley platform, and so and there are no PDFs to download in terms of the curriculum. So basically, you need to just have an internet connection at all times, every time you want to study. So in that sense, I think that the way the curriculum is provided, is a lot less accessible. It's more cumbersome, even though the emerging topics are provided in PDF text, which is quite good. The most of the topics are simply unavailable in PDF form, so you have to log into the platform to access them, and so in order to be able to study. Also, I find this a little bit strange, in which, considering the exam format, so just for you who don't know yet, the first part of the exam are 100 multiple choice questions to be answered in a 2-hour limit, and the second part of the exam are 3 groups, if the memory serves me right, 3 groups of essay questions. Each group has either 3 or 4 questions, so you can answer as little as 9 questions or as much as around 12 questions. And so there are a few strange things about the materials that are provided, which are for the portion. And by the way, it's important to emphasize that the 100 multiple choice questions are on most of the curriculum, but not all of it, and the essay questions are on another portion of the curriculum, and the weightings are 70% for the multiple choice questions and 30% for the essay questions. And so I find it a little bit strange that for the practice questions for the topics to be tested on multiple choice questions, the practice questions were on essay form. So basically, you must test your knowledge for those topics in an essay format of questions. And for the questions to be tested in essay format, those topics do not have any practice questions available, which I find it, of course, strange, to say the least. And also, there is one practice exam available for you to test your knowledge. And so for me, I found that this was not nearly enough. Basically, you have so few options to test yourself and your knowledge that and even more so given my past during the CFA levels, basically I had no way to prepare myself in the way that I used to do, and so I decided to basically buy additional practice questions from a prep provider. Just a brief note on the curriculum itself. The curriculum is a little bit less extensive than each of the CFA Institute levels, the CFA program levels. But of course, it's much more focused sort of program, and it goes really deep on the topics of alternative investments, which is, of course, it's meant to be. But you can afford to spend less hours in terms of your preparation than the time that it takes to prepare for each level of the CFA exam. So back to the topic of the prep provider, I had to buy additional practice questions from a prep provider. The one I got provided me basically with multiple choice questions on the entire curriculum. Of course, this was not perfect because I needed to practice the essay questions, the essay portion of the exam in the most perfect way, which would be through essay form of practice questions. But of course, this was not possible. But still, it allowed me to do the kind of preparation that I was hoping for, because of course with so many practice questions that I had, uh, by the hundreds of questions, yeah, basically I managed to test my knowledge on the entire curriculum over and over again, repeating the same questions to make sure that I really knew as much as possible about the topics. And of course, to the point, I did this enough times to make sure that I really understood each and every topic of the curriculum. I must say as well that because of the unequal weightings, 70% for the first portion of the exam in multiple choice questions and 30% for the essay portion, of course, and also because I did not have as much time as I would like to because of my work commitments, I decided to put an extra focus on the multiple choice portion of the curriculum, and not completely disregard, but yeah, basically not devote as much time to the questions on the essay portion of the exam. And basically, yeah, I took that risk. I would not recommend it to do so, but because I was a little bit pressed for time, it was a bit difficult for me to basically devote the same amount of time, full on attention to both portions of the curriculum. So I had to make a choice. In terms of the exam itself, it's kind of a strange feeling because the both parts are completely the opposite, not only in terms of the format of the questions, but the conditions that you have to solve each portion. For example, the first portion, you have to answer 100 multiple choice questions. You have 2 hours. The questions itself, of course, because the format is multiple choice, it's a little bit easier to answer, but the 2-hour time limit, I found it quite tight, and in the end I had to answer a few questions, probably a handful of questions, basically more or less in a random way, because I was not really sure of the answer. And of course you should not leave questions blank or unanswered. And so I decided that basically let just answer randomly in order to avoid leave them blank later. And so I finished right on the limit of the time. And then comes the second part, basically either up as little as 9 or as much as 12 essay questions, and you have the same 2 hours. I believe that a qualified candidate could answer them in about an hour, probably even less. And so I think the exam format is not very well designed, because the second part is basically too much time. You can allow to relax yourself and take as much time as you need to answer those questions. If you ask my opinion, I would say that this degrades the value of the designation a bit, because the questions, of course, are more difficult, but it's not really challenging, given that you have a lot of time. All right, you can think about it for a long time before you answer them. So it's not really a challenge in terms of the time, and so of course you still need to know the curriculum in that regard, but it's not the same feeling. In the end, I must say that I did not feel very confident because of the questions that I answered randomly, and also because, based on my a little bit less focused preparation on the essay questions, I found that some of the questions I answered more based on my overall knowledge of finance, than on what I could recall from the curriculum. And when I left the exam, of course, when I finished the exam, I found myself a little bit uneasy because this was not the way it was supposed to be. I was a little bit afraid that this was not this did not go as well as I could, as I would expect. But in the end, of course, as you can see in the thumbnail, I ended up passing quite comfortably. But still, probably because of the exam format and because of my unequal attention to each of the portions of the exam, of the topics that would appear on the exam, I would say also the curriculum, even though it's deep and it's very good to 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 get to know really about alternative investments, I find that the candidate is a little bit handicapped on the material side. I think the materials are not as good, especially when compared to the CFA program. This is just my opinion, of course. The CFA Institute does not pay me anything to say this, but this is what I feel that is fair for me to say it based on my experience. I also would say that by comparing the curriculums of both the CFA and the CAIA, of course, the CAIA program is more focused on alternative investments, and so if you feel that you lack some kind of deeper knowledge in that particular topic, of course, I would suggest that you register for the designation and try to get the CAIA charter. Because the knowledge is very deep and it's good quality. The content is good quality. It gives you a quite deep level of knowledge in terms of alternative investments. If you want to do both, I would say that you should do the CFA program first, not only because it's more global, it's more well-rounded, and it gives you a more general feeling and knowledge about the entire spectrum of topics that are present in finance, but also because of the stackable program that the CAIA provides, meaning if you finish the CFA first, you can then skip the level 1, assuming you get the charter, of course. You can skip the level 1 of the CAIA and jump directly to level 2, whereas if you try the other way around, you cannot do that. You have to basically sit for 2 exams on the CAIA program and then sit for all 3 levels and then go for all 3 levels of the CFA program. So if I would say to a candidate that wishes to do both, do first the CFA program, and basically that's it. For me, in terms of my experience beyond this, I would say that I was the entire month that I had in terms of rest, so to speak, was not enough. I felt that it was not enough. I felt that by January, February, before the exam, I was already kind of feeling the need to get away from this and really do other things, because I was basically working and studying all the time, and so you don't get much time to do anything else when you have a full-time job. So I was already feeling the need to simply finish this as soon as possible. And so basically I hope you don't get the same sort of experience than I did, because of course it would be wiser and more rational to do things a little bit more separately, with a little bit of more of a time gap between all these designations, to make sure that you don't burn yourself out, especially if you have a full-time job as I did. And so it's important for you to keep that sort of balance, and basically that's it. I hope you guys take as much insights and knowledge from this video as possible. My next video will be a little bit different. I would be a little bit more focused on the impact that the CFA program and the CAIA program had in my career. But of course, until then, I wish you all the best, and make sure you subscribe below. And basically, any comments or suggestions, because the comment option is not yet available, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would be delighted to receive your messages and feedback. Thank you, guys, and have a good one. Thank you.